Hello. Today I pulled out my Super 8 scooter out of the shed after the winter and I'm going to de-winterize it, and I'm going to clean the carburetor on it. Today's focus of this video will be cleaning of the carburetor. We'll start by opening up the seat. And we're going to take the Met box and the seat out all in one piece. You can take the seat off if you want by removing these two bolts here. I usually don't do that. I keep the seat attached. There is 10 millimeter nuts and bolts. Two 10 millimeters here for bolts, two 10 millimeter nuts here, two 10 millimeter nuts in the very bottom here, and then a number 2 Phillips head screw right here. Once you remove all of those, the seat and Met box will pop right out. These two bolts down here don't like a right angle because there's not enough room, so I'll put a screwdriver end on it and take those out. Grab the top of the seat and the back here and just lift it out. I should probably note that I'm doing all of this work with the battery removed. Just to be safe, you probably want to make sure that your battery is at least unhooked so that there's no possible way that the machine will start. There's our carburetor, and we'll start working on it. I should mention that I'm using my Super 8 150 service manual that I bought off of Cyclopedia.com. Go check it out. They make some wonderful service manuals, and the first thing we're going to do is take off the connection to the bi-starter. Bi-starter is here, and if you follow that wire around, it runs up and runs into a boot section over here. We're going to pull that down and out and unhook the red bi-starter connection. There's the one for the bi-starter. Push on that little tab right there and it just slid right out. Push to the hook on the other side. Through here, and that's unhooked. Next is the float bowl drain screw. I know mine is empty because of my winterization, but if you have to drain your float bowl, then there's a screw down here. If I can zoom in on it. Not the one in the lower left, but the one in the middle of the screen. If I can't get that to focus on it, there you go. Yeah, well. The single slot is the one that you loosen up, and that will drain your float bowl. I'm going to be filming most of this from the right side of the bike as I work on the left side. The next thing to do is to loosen up your throttle cable bolts. Pull this boot back. Get a good idea of where the nuts sit as they are right now, because that adjusts your throttle free play. And that is should be a 12 millimeter nut. Just loosen that a little bit. Loosen the other side. and then that comes around and slides out of the top of that. Okay, so there's that. I'll screw that back on there just to make sure I don't lose it. I shouldn't anyway. Next, we're going to start removing hoses. The first one is a fuel hose. If you look down here, there's your fuel petcock there, and there's your fuel line. And if you follow that down, it runs. It's kind of hard to see. Underneath the bi starter here is your fuel line right there. So that one comes off. The air hose comes off right here. And this hose on top here comes off. If I find any more, I'll let you know. Something a little unusual. I went to remove this vent hose right here with the screwdriver's pointing, and noticed that it doesn't go to anything. It just, they call it a vent hose in the service manual, but it just kind of comes out and down. It's moist on the end, like it's got oil or something on it, I don't know what. But it doesn't really go anything, so I don't know why you would have to disconnect it. So I'm going to leave it on there for now. This hose that goes right here on top, just to help identify that later when I put it back together, I'm going to remove this screw on the diaphragm thing here. And that will leave that plastic piece on there. And that will help me remember that that hose goes over to that side. As an FYI, I really don't consider myself a mechanic, but I'm trying to learn. So that's why I got my service manual. And another thing that I do, some people may call it anal, but I keep all my parts by my stuff. That's the stuff, the screws and bolts that go with the Met box. But like this carb, I've never taken that apart. So I've got me a little piece of paper, and it says hose guide, top of carb, and that's where that screw goes, and I've taped it to that piece of paper. You may think it a little funny, but I'm not going to lose any screws, and I'm going to remember where everything goes when I get done, or when I get ready to put it back together.